Good evening, America, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Just the News, No Noise. I'm your host, John Solomon, reporting as always from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., where things are getting a little safer. More than 400 arrests have been made by federal authorities since they did the takeover. Some of the most heinous criminals being rounded up. That's good news for the residents of D.C. A little programming note tonight. My co-host, Amanda Head, is out on assignment. She'll be back tomorrow night if the planes and the travel gods are good. But we've got a lot to get down for you tonight, including the latest on the Ukraine war after President Trump's historic meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky and multiple European leaders at the White House yesterday. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt announced at a press conference earlier today that Russia's President Vladimir Putin has signaled to President Trump that he is open to a bilateral meeting with President Zelensky. And if Zelensky agrees too, that would be a huge sign that peace may actually be over the horizon. The White House also told reporters today that a possible trilateral meeting between President Trump, Vladimir Putin, and Volodymyr Zelensky could be set up after the meeting between Putin and Zelensky. So that would move the ball even further down the road. You're starting to see the pathway. A lot of wrinkles ahead, but there is at least a path, a compass set for that. We also have news coming out of the Justice Department. They have opened an investigation into allegations that the D.C. Police Department manipulated crime data to make it seem as though crime wasn't as bad as it actually was. The investigation started after a lawsuit from a whistleblower was settled by the Metropolitan Police Department. That alleged retaliation after the whistleblower brought to light alleged manipulated crime stacks. Our good friend here at Just the News, Stephen Richards, has been writing about this. Another big story going to be there when you wake up in the morning. Be sure to check it out. He's got some new details on just how bad the fudging of numbers is. Now, switching gears to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who earlier today announced that she has revoked the security clearances of 37 former and current intelligence officials in connection with the Russiagate scandal. Gabbard said those 37 officials abused public trust by participating in the scandal. And she also said that those in the intelligence community who betrayed their oath to the Constitution and put their own interests ahead of the interests of the American people have broken the sacred trust they promised to uphold. A lot of people reacting to that. We here at Just the News broke a bunch of stories last week detailing some more of those alleged abuses during the Russiagate scandal and what happened afterwards, showing that leaks may have been coordinated and asked for by then Congressman Adam Schiff, and that the FBI may have been playing a role in shaping the narrative as well under James Comey, when they should have been actually just following the law and following the facts of their investigation to get it to truthful conclusion. That's an idea I think we all would support. Finally, we have some news involving the thousands of migrant children that the Biden administration led into the country during the 4 years of Joe Biden's presidency. This follows up on the great work of our first guest today. Congressman Glenn Grothman was the first to highlight this. He brought some whistleblowers together. Well, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley revealed yesterday the latest data shows that the Department of Health and Human Services under President Trump placed over 10,000, nearly 11,000 migrant children with sponsors who weren't vetted. They didn't go through criminal background checks. We didn't know who they really were. The data also found that from January 2021 through January 2025, those unaccompanied migrant children were not only placed with unvetted sponsors, they weren't followed up with in home studies. About 79,000 children under the age of 12 did not get a home study as required by the Biden administration's own rules. Keep in mind, these are the most vulnerable of vulnerable children. They were brought here to the United States without their parents, oftentimes at the behest of the cartel or human traffickers. And you have to ask yourself, how did this end up happening? And why are we just hearing about these numbers now? Well, I think those are questions our next guest may be able to answer quite well, since he's the man who first dug into it. Joining me now from the great state of Wisconsin, where I spent 8 years of my career very happily, Congressman Glenn Grothman. Sir, good to have you on the show today.
Glad to be on the show. Sorry we couldn't discuss a more cheerful topic, but you've got to remember that, first of all, how quiet the other party is right now. The party that supposedly is concerned about children being separated from their parents. Remember, families are being separated. Well, now we find out that under Joe Biden, over 70,000 children were in this country without their parents, not being appropriately vetted. And I think of the horrible things going on in Russia, in which Russia is kidnapping Ukrainian children who grew up without their parents. In this country, the zeal to get as many people in the country as possible and change America as quickly as possible has horrifically led to over 70,000 children without, not only without parents, but without adults that have been improperly vetted.
It's just unbelievable. The rules were clear. The profession of the Democratic Party was, we'll take care of these kids. We know they get them here under difficult circumstances that the Democratic Party forced. But then not to do the basics. I mean, you said, I think the last time we talked about this, they prioritize speed over the safety of children. Was their political interest so great that they were willing to overlook the safety of children?
Absolutely. Well, they certainly overlooked not only this area, but they overlooked the safety of American citizens. We look at all the criminals again. But Barack Obama, Joe Biden's kind of mentor and successor, made it clear he wanted to fundamentally change America. How do you fundamentally change America? You let 9, 10, 11 million people unvetted come into the country. And among those inappropriately vetted people are over 70,000 children allowed in the country. So that's what you had. That has been the goal of Joe Biden. I would say that means a goal of fundamentally destroying America, because you can't take that many people in a country without changing what the country is like. So here we are. All these children. Poor President Trump is one more time left cleaning up the mess that Joe Biden had. We got to see if we can eventually put these children back with their parents, send them home to their country of origin, and I hopefully have success there. It's sure going to be hard to reunite over 70,000 children with their parents, but that's the mess Joe Biden left Donald Trump with.
Yeah, and it's a monstrous effort. And obviously some of these kids, they might still not know where they are because of the fact that the government lost track of them, which was the very point you made at the beginning of this. They had whistleblowers. They knew this was going to be a problem, right? There were whistleblowers coming forward, and it sounds like they just put earmuffs in and didn't want to listen to them. When you look back at those whistleblowers who first alerted you and the country to this, they did a country a big favor, but they didn't get treated very well, did they?
No, not at all. Another problem. By the way, another thing to remember about this, there was a time where we did DNA testing to see whether the adult was at least related to the child. That's something else that Joe Biden was not interested in following up on, because he didn't care who was taking care of these children.